On this episode of Industry Relations, Rob and I discuss Opendoor, the FTC, Zillow, and who the big winners and losers are. Let's go. This is Industry Relations, a podcast that's at the intersection of real estate and technology from an insider's perspective, with Rob Hahn and Greg Robertson.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Industry Relations with Rob and Greg. Obviously, this is your co-host, the notorious Rob Hahn, and with me is the fabulous Greg Robertson.
Hello, Rob. How are you?
Fabulous, Greg. How are you, man?
Oh, I'm okay. Yeah. So, a lot of big week last week, right? I mean, Inman Connect. Great to see you. We had lunch.
Yep.
Conversations.
I was actually shocked that I managed to grab a meal with you because that's really hard.
Well, they had me busy there. I interviewed Gal from the main stage on this little session. Yeah. And then Katie Smithson and I co-moderated the data and tech track on Thursday as well. And between that, meetings and recovery and yeah, we were lucky to grab lunch together because I know.
All I can say is I think the age is getting to me because I was thinking about there's been a number of requests to do a karaoke experience Thursday evening, and I was like, I can't. I just can't. We need the younger generation to step up.
Oh man,
and take
they're ready. They're ready. They're ready.
But excuse me. In any event, so I know we got some juicy topics, but before we dive in, just real curious, any big takeaways for you from Connect? Because obviously I didn't go any sessions. I just went to LobbyCon,
Yeah, I mean, I think, it's starting to get back, right? I mean, it's not at full strength yet, but I mean, I think we're still within the pandemic. There's still people that are a little bit afraid to fly and go to these larger events. For fear of catching something or anything, but I think we're on our way back now. So yeah. I'm just sorry, something came up on the screen there. And then again, I think I think what we're going to talk about today, the bigger news is would drop. There's a news about Opendoor, which was right before the event started, and then there was the other news about Opendoor and Zillow drop later. That was really just the talk of the town after that.
Yeah, so let's dive right into that. And by something happening, it means I didn't have my headphones on, but here I am now. So obviously that's going on, but I think we got to talk about Opendoor.
Yeah. Well, let's I want you to start off with this, but
sure.
First things first is there was the first news about there was big drop was on Monday, and that news was the FTC FTC had fined or had reached a settlement. I don't know how you would do it, but how you phrase it, but with Opendoor of $62 million, basically slapping them on the wrist or slapping across the face, however you want to look at it. Of having deceptive advertising practices. With it seemed to be they were focusing on the 2017 to 2019 timeframe.
That's right.
And I wrote a post about that right before I got on the plane. I thought myself when reading this, it was just the most ridiculous thing I've read because, I mean, whoever thought about going to an iBuyer, especially ones that back in the 2017 timeframe, everybody was talking about what lowball offers they had. Yeah, that anybody was thinking that you were going to make more money selling your home to an Opendoor, right? Yeah. So in the post that I wrote, I kind of posited that this had to be some sort of rogue sales department or marketing campaign to. I just can't in my head ever get around that some realtors some sellers thought that was true. And I even went back to archive.org, which you can look back at what their homepage looked like in 2017. And you didn't read anything on there like make more money by selling to Opendoor. Yeah. It's still about, as they like to say, it was all about certainty and convenience. Yeah. Right. Yeah. How smooth the transaction was and how easy it was. Right. So it was just like, what happened here? And in Opendoor's kind of thing, they were saying basically, we don't agree with this, but we're not going to die on this hill.
Yeah.
This happened a long time ago. We've got to move on.
Yeah. I mean, look, this is where you're going to get my like ANCAP side fired up, right? ANCAP meaning anarcho-capitalist, like everything government sucks. To me, this is just straight up green mail by the FTC. Basically, what they got Opendoor for was claiming that they pay market value. Right? I mean, that's basically what it comes down to. In some of their earlier marketing, it would say, yeah, it's about convenience, about speed. But you know what? We're going to make market value offers, right? So it's just that language. And, FTC went through all this stuff to showing that you don't pay market value. Your internal communications show you don't pay market value, yada, yada, yada. Okay, I guess. But to your point, I read that. I'm like, yeah, but nobody thought they were getting, quote, market value, right? 2016, I don't remember a single instance ever since Opendoor kind of started up in 2014 when real estate agents weren't pointing out you're leaving tens of thousands of dollars on the table, right? So a lot of the presentations I've been giving, it's like, look, here's a scenario where people are willingly giving up a lot of money because they want the convenience. Like the transaction is that broken. And that was a point that I would make.
Yeah. And
realtors would come back with like, oh, you're leaving money on the table. Like, money's not everything. There are a lot of times when
time is money.
Time is money, or knowing that I could sell this house and then buy another house. That's worth something.
Well,
so
let's go back to what you said about market value.
Yeah.
If you're just talking about the traditional market, maybe, but if this is a brand new market, this is a market where you can sell your house within 7 days and get a check. That's a brand new kind of transaction. So to relate that to the value of a previous one, again, it was a weird.
No, there's some stuff that Opendoor was doing, right, where it was. Let's just put it this way. I think it was just a mistake. Like they had this thing. Let me look it up about repairs, right? They had this repair ask. They had something called the estimated repair credit, right, internally, right, but they didn't disclose it. Do you know what I mean? Things like that. So they would do an offer based on this estimated repair credit, and then they would reduce the offer price depending, thinking, oh, we're going to spend this, but we're going to get this kind of.
They spent more than they thought, right?
And they didn't disclose it. And when repairs came in lower, it isn't as if they went and gave the money back to the consumer or anything. You know what I mean? Like there were some things like that. The market value piece, it was just literally just marketing copy, right? And think about marketers. Like marketers are like, your job is to market whatever product or service. So sometimes you get carried away. Sometimes you use, florid language.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming, look, 2016, 2017, Opendoor is still a startup, rapid growth mode. I don't think they had the type of like legal oversight over everything saying, hey, this is a problem. You can't say market value. Who the hell knows, right?
Yeah, and that's going back to market value. And I thought I tweeted this when I read this.
Yeah.
Because anybody who's been a listener to industry relations knows we've been talking about the FTC and the DOJ, and they're kind of like, we're waiting for the other shoe to drop on them kind of coming down on commissions, buyer side commissions, right?
Yeah.
And because it's, that's an unfair practice from realtors. And in this case, the irony of the whole thing was like, they're telling people, well, you should be using traditional real estate agents, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's so what?
Yeah.
I'm being a little facetious, but not really. I mean, the irony was so thick here.
Yeah.
Like, well, if they would have used a traditional real estate agent, they would have made blah, 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 blah. I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Who?
Here's the thing, man. So look, I mean, I think the FTC thing, like I said, to me, it was green mail. It was one of these things where Opendoor probably looked at it and said, all right, fuck it. Let's just pay them off. Like how much do you want to go away?
Yeah.
Because that's what green mail is, right? There's a lot of these harassment lawsuits. Somebody's like, I'm going to sue you for this. And
Zillow's done it a couple times, right?
Yeah. Settle for $50,000 and like just write them a check because we're going to spend more than that on legal fees, right? And I think Opendoor just didn't want to bother with it.
Okay, let me ask you a question, and let me get your take on this. So that this dropped the week of Inman Connect. right?
More importantly, it dropped 3 days before the earnings call.
Okay. All right. Yeah. That's another thing, right? But I kind of think that they dropped it the week of Inman Connect because they wanted to send a message to the industry, and they knew that there'd be a lot of thought leaders and industry people. They're going to be together in one place that they can discuss that. I mean, that's a little bit of a conspiracy theory. What do you think?
It's possible. I kind of doubt it. Like, I don't know if the FTC pays that close attention to like Inman and the industry leaders. Do you know what I mean? I feel like the FTC just kind of does FTC stuff because they're a big giant federal agency. They feel like they're all powerful, so they just kind of. I think if anything, like I said, more important would have been let's drop it before earnings call.
Right.
Curiously enough, during the earnings call, nobody asked about it. Not one analyst asked.
There was no other news to talk about, right?
There was other news to talk about, but in addition, it's like Opendoor's response, really was basically this is old news. Right? This happened 2016 to 2019. We don't do this stuff anymore. We've changed our marketing. Pay him $62 million. Who cares? Right. Now, of course, there's a couple things though to really address about this. Number one, real estate agents and brokers and. Interesting, the guy that you interviewed, Guy Gal, I think has been one of the most vocal, at least on Twitter, just taking that up. And I'm like, look, when you have like $3 billion, $62 million is really actually not that much money. I know we can't think of things in those terms. And I know people want to say, well, Opendoor's never profitable, $62 million. It's like, yeah, I get it. But really, in the grand scope of things, it's really not that big a deal. That's number one. But number two, and more importantly, I think maybe the industry's celebrating this a bit too much without thinking through what this could mean. And I think that's a little bit more important, right? So let me give you kind of where my head's at with this. And again, I have no idea. Go ask your attorney, right? This is not legal advice. It's none of those things. But basically, the FTC went after Opendoor for marketing claims that they made in the past, right? Like, hey, we pay market value. And they went after him, said this is a violation. And you all right, well,
hold on. I don't believe I read anything in the statement about the time frame. The only time frame things were mentioned were by Opendoor.
Right. That's true.
That's true. I mean, you're saying that, but
that's true.
The narrative about the time frame was coming from Opendoor, not from the statement from the FTC.
But what they were like, the timeline in the actual settlement and the lawsuit all referred like 2016, 2017, 2018, right? Okay. So basically, the FTC saying, look, we went back and looked at your business practices back then, and we're going to fine you for this, right? I mean, think of some of the business practices that back then, right? That the industry's already agreed was wrong. For example, buyer agents claiming their services are free. Right. Now, NAR's like, hey, we changed that, right? But you changed it in 2021. Like, you changed it last year.
Well, I guess, the FTC had hard evidence, like with Opendoor, that they could prove that this was going on enough to force the settlement.
Yeah.
Now, do you think that they would have enough hard evidence?
Yeah. I mean, you don't think we'll find millions of realtors saying, hey, work with me, my services are free, right?
Yeah.
And again, the fact that NAR itself said, you know what, you can't say that anymore. But they only said it in response to the DOJ settlement, right? So if you think about the full history, Department of Justice sues, or they start investigating, the two of them agree, okay, you know what, we're not going to claim buyer services are free, right? We're not going to claim that anymore. We're not going to prohibit brokers and agents from sharing compensation information, right? These are like elements in the settlement. And then NAR says, okay, you know what, we're going to follow through with that and tell our people you can no longer claim your fees or your services are free.
Right.
Okay, but that was 2021. So if the FTC comes in and goes, hey, listen, you guys been fucking consumers for a long time. Here's a fine, right? How about a $600 million fine that we will then make sure to compensate these buyers who are taking advantage of some shit? My thing is, how do we defend that? Right.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, you've got the fact that these are all independent contractors, right? It's not like a company, right? That's its own thing. And then, it's not so unusual that that the FTC is bringing a lawsuit about things that happened in the past. I mean, everything moves so slow.
Sure.
Every lawsuit's that, right?
Sure.
So you can't go over that. But so this even before this, just the very nature of lawsuits, this is always on the table.
Always on the table. So that's one. There's a second one that is immediate today. So that has not been handled, if you will, right? There are a lot of companies, a lot of agents, a lot of brokers who've been doing off-market listings, right? Coming soons,
sure.
office exclusives, even after clear cooperation policy, office exclusive loophole.
Loophole after loophole, sure.
Loophole after loophole. Okay. FTC went after Opendoor around this notion of market value. You're telling me FTC can't go after those guys for failing to get market value for their clients? I think they can.
Yeah, I just don't get where they're coming from with this market value. I mean, this is a wholly different service than they're comparing apples and oranges.
I know. I'm just saying, but if the FTC can go after Opendoor saying, hey, you guys fucked up and you owe $62 million, I don't know why the FTC couldn't go after, I don't know, Compass, could go after, I don't know, a bunch of agents and brokers in the San Francisco, like, who was it we're talking to? MLS listings saying that at one point, 30 to 40% of all their transactions were done off MLS. I don't know why FTC couldn't go after those guys and say, hey, you owe a bunch of money.
Yeah,
right?
it just, again, it's mind-boggling, and you go back to Side and Guy Gal there, who I interviewed. To me, I think that, they have a very innovative company with Side, right? Yeah. Opendoor is very innovative in what they're doing. I mean, two of the most innovative companies out there. And this kind of stuff, the FTC is going after like this innovative company. And again, the irony of it all of like, if they're trying to change things, why are they smacking down this new entrant that is trying to change things? Then I think
the answer is simple. The answer is because they know Opendoor has the money, number one.
It's one entity.
What? Yeah, it's one entity.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they got him. They have some evidence.
Yeah.
I mean, that's based, and a lot of it to me is the fact that Opendoor had internal communications, like internal emails showing, hey, the algorithm said this, we're going to offer less than that, right? So when I wrote up about this, like the opposite of Zillow's Project Catch-up, right? Where they were saying, hey, algorithm says offer this, we're going to offer more. Like whenever human beings fuck with the algorithm, it looks like bad things happen. Yeah. So there was that. There's a lot of the internal emails that said, we're not offering fair market value, to our customers, things like that. That's what it is, right?
Yeah, again, I totally have the problem with this is such a different product than what's on.
No, look, obviously you and I are in agreement. I'm a huge Opendoor bull, as everyone knows, right? But I think the FTC went after them because low hanging fruit. They knew they could get, squeeze them. They could have a pelt on the wall and get $60 million.
Yeah, one thing I saw on Twitter, I was really laughing about is what's the guy, the surgeon that's a big, also
Tyler.
Yeah. So
Tyler Oakland, yeah.
He his whole thing he responded to one of the threads was like, this is a hit piece.
Yeah.
I'm like, somebody responded like, a hit piece? This is a statement from the FTC. Like, not from like inside Business Insider. He's like, it's a hit piece. I'm like, I don't think that word means what you think it means, Tyler.
Who knows? I mean, look, there some of the intriguing things to come out of that particular thing is, like you said, I mean, the FTC is now telling consumers, like, hey, you should just use a traditional real estate agent, right? We know for a fact that the FTC was told to go regulate real estate, right? We know that for a fact because that's the whole Biden executive order. We've talked about it many times. All right. Does this imply that NAR flexes political muscle and sort of got the FTC to play ball?
I don't know.
That would be real interesting.
I'm telling you, like one of the conversations, the past conversation we had on this podcast was about, I was actually looking like things might be optimistic because they only have so much time. They only have, we've got the midterms coming up and, it's not it hasn't been showing up at a lot in some of their communications. And then you get a move like this where they're slapping down like, non-traditional things.
Yeah.
Maybe maybe all this talk we've been doing for the past year,
maybe
be for naught, right? So
maybe, yeah,
yeah,
it's entirely possible. Maybe,
or maybe they feel that just bringing some pressure on has made the industry make some changes that are going to be in a positive direction, and they don't need to do anything else, right? So
it's possible.
Yeah,
entirely. We'll see.
Okay, so
that's news one.
First bit of news, right? And here's the travesty is that so we were at Javier's at Aria having lunch, right? And at the bar was Sarah Bonet from Zillow. I remember seeing her, and I was supposed to interview her at the Tech and Data Tech Con Connect track. And as we were having lunch and having a margarita, the news dropped about that Zillow is now partnering with Opendoor.
Right.
And I missed that news. So I actually had Sarah on stage where I could have asked her specifically directly with it, but I had no clue what just happened. Right.
Right.
But why don't you kind of set it up and tell us what happened with that news?
So it's a little bit unclear. I'm still seeking some details. But basically, Zillow and Opendoor have entered into a multi-year exclusive partnership.
Right.
And I think it sounds like it's 5 years. So presumably, Opendoor will be the only iBuyer on Zillow's platform. And for what I can glean is...
and to be clear, Zillow can still offer more services beyond that, right? They can still... offer mortgage, title, whatever.
Oh yeah, no, it's not just that. Like Zillow, I here's how I look at it. I wrote a post about this, and I'll just go with the title. The title is "Somebody Call 911: Thoughts on Opendoor and Zillow Partnership." Right, and the reason why I said "Somebody Call 911," I'm like, I want to report a robbery. Right, like Zillow, like. God damn, whoever negotiated this deal for Zillow deserves a giant raise, like artist shoes. I feel like, holy crap, I've never seen a deal like this. So Zillow's a big winner. I think Del Preti came out and said this is a win-win. I'm like, I guess it's, to me, I think of it more like win, like, yeah, Opendoor wins because they get access to the 260 million or whatever, monthly uniques that Zillow has. Or at least some fraction of it, because Opendoor's not in every market, right? They're in 55, 53, something like that markets.
Less than that, yeah, but 50-ish.
50-ish markets. So yeah, you're not gonna get sell to Opendoor in like Topeka, like probably not, right? But Atlanta, Phoenix, all the Raleigh, Durham, like wherever they are. So I guess that's positive, right? But Zillow, holy shit, like Zillow got so much out of this deal.
Hey, everybody. I'm so excited to announce our inaugural sponsor of the Industry Relations podcast, NoteRouter. NoteRouter was launched back in 2018 by Nick Goff, and they had the mission of reconnecting real estate. NoteRouter is an all-in-one email and texting platform designed exclusively for real estate. NoteRouter syncs with your membership database to make communicating with your members easier and more effective. Believe me, your staff is going to love you for this. If you're an association or MLS and you want to do a better job with communicating with members, really look no further. They've just launched a brand new website. It looks fantastic, by the way. I'll put the URL in the show notes. It's NoteRouter.com. Go there, take a look. You'll find everything you need. Once again, thank you, Nick. Thank you to everybody at NoteRouter for sponsoring the Industry Relations podcast. Rob and I truly appreciate your support.
So one of the things I'm trying to find out, like as we're recording this, is are there some details of this that I'm missing, right? Because one of the biggest, like, what the F, was when you click on that button, how back in the Zillow iBuying days, they would have this like button right there for if it's not an active listing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Request an offer, whatever. So it's the same thing, right? Like request an offer, except the offer will be from Opendoor. Okay. Except that based on what I've read and I listened to the earnings calls, that where Zillow and Rich Barton talked about it. And quite frankly, Eric Wood didn't really talk about it that much to a level of detail in his earnings call. But what it sounds like is when you request that offer, we don't know exactly how it's going to take place. But you know how you have to go fill out all this info about your house? I don't know if you ever went through the Opendoor process.
Yeah.
Right. But you got to go, like address and, whatever, and answer some questions. And they give you an instant. And then they'll say, we'll send somebody out to look at the house and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's you go through all that. It almost sounds like at that point, you have to talk to a Zillow employee. Like, Rich Barton said, there's a licensed Zillow representative who will work with the customer to make sure that this is like the best thing for them. I'm like, what? Like, time out, what? So,
and that happens right now with agents when they're in the Flex program. That lead is incubated via Zillow and then is finally handed off when it's ready, right? So that's not different from what's going on right now. If you're thinking that's a bad thing for Opendoor,
I know it's a huge difference. There's a huge difference though, right? Where the lead incubation from Premier Agent, they're just clicking just a generic like contact whatever agent, schedule showing, whatever. In this case, this button doesn't exist without Opendoor.
Right.
So this is literally Zillow cannot put a button, request an offer unless Opendoor exists. So Opendoor's like, and there's a huge difference, right, between what an agent and an Opendoor would do, right? The agent's going to do what the agent does. Opendoor's like, I'm going to write you a big check. So that's just mind-boggling to me. The fact that Opendoor conceded that, right?
Yeah, I mean,
but here's the second piece. So while you're thinking about that, the other piece that just completely mind-boggling for me, and I'd love to know if we're missing something, right? If maybe the news release, if the story so far doesn't go into detail, is Zillow clearly has the right to generate seller leads from this, right? In other words, somebody clicks the button, talks to the Zillow rep, and it's like, yeah, you know what? Never mind the Opendoor thing, right? Or, yeah, sure, I still want an offer from Opendoor, but I also want a CMA from a Premier Agent, right? Those seller leads. Zillow's clearly able to monetize those seller leads, like in the description, right?
Yes.
Rich Barton talked about it. And I'm like, shouldn't you owe Opendoor referral if that happens? And there's no mention of that anywhere in any of the discussions.
I don't see how there was no relationship with Opendoor there that was, by giving an offer, they didn't sign some sort of exclusive listing.
Hold on a second, but let's just think of it from a strict business standpoint, right? Say the consumer came to Opendoor's website, click the button, right? And then it's like, yeah, you know what? I'm not gonna do this. And Opendoor says, great, but you're a high intent seller. Hey, Zillow, would you like this lead to give to one of you? You're telling me the Opendoor would not have charged a referral then? Of course they would have.
Well, I guess what I'd have a problem with is your terminology. Referral to me means, they both have to be brokers. There's both have to be something.
I just mean simply, look,
a fee, some sort of fee. Sure, that's all negotiable. Yeah. Who knows? Maybe there is something. I don't think we know, but like you said,
we don't know.
Yeah.
But that's befuddling to me. Like I said, dude, the value of these high intent seller leads to Zillow, because the value of it to an agent, right, is so huge. You know this, I know this. It's gigantic, right? And we know Zillow's going to just make bank just selling these seller leads, at 35% flex referral fees to all their Premier agents, right? Opendoor couldn't be like, hey, why don't you cut us 10% of your take? Like, not a commission, right? Like, of Zillow's revenues.
Yeah.
Give us 5%. Give us 10%. They couldn't negotiate that?
Well, I don't know if we're ever going to see all the full,
of course,
of what it is. Now, so I mean, this is fucking great because you're so wrong about this. and let me tell you why, right? So, a couple things here. First of all, I think this is a win-win possibly better for Opendoor than Zillow, right? Because first of all, what I used to say in the beginning was this was like back in the old day with Netflix and HBO, right? And basically the guys at Netflix said, we have to become HBO faster than HBO can become Netflix.
Okay.
That's what I think their head of marketing had said. That was the game back then, right? And then you had the fact that, Rich Barton went on to the Stratechery podcast, and as we talked about, and called Opendoor an existential threat.
Yeah.
But as you know, it's tough for companies to do things, to start new initiatives, and when their soul is somewhere else, right? It's mind-boggling how a lot of companies try to be something from what they started with, and the road is long and riddled with dead bodies of companies trying to do something else beyond their core. And that's exactly what happened to Zillow, right?
I disagree. I completely disagree, but go ahead.
We can call the project catch up and all this kind of thing. Basically, they couldn't stomach it. They got out.
Sure.
Whatever reason you want to talk about, and I think a lot to do with that. They're a good media company. They're a good company of attracting, things. As far as the other side, not so good, or as a concession to you, it's just not something they have the stomach to do.
Right.
Opendoor, on the other hand, is, has been making this business doing.
That's their business, right?
That's their business, right? So I think at the end of the day, now you have two companies that kind of came to each other and says, well, you're good at this, I'm good at that. Maybe we should just coexist together. So I think that's a good thing. Second thing is Barton, and I remember Errol had said this when they first announced this marketplace thing. They said in the high 90s, more people go with the CMA than they do with the offer, right?
Yes.
So we already know those metrics, right? Those metrics are there, right? And in fact, one of the reasons Rich Barton said that they got out of this business is like, well, we're not really helping a lot of people here.
Mm-hmm.
Because most people don't take that offer.
Yep.
They take the market offer, right? So there's nothing new here, and as far as like who got a bad deal or what, it's just like, Opendoor's, that's the business they've chosen, right? Zillow's chosen this business, right? Sure. This business on Opendoor side is, as they say, they eat bips for breakfast. This is a low margin, that's what they do. That's what they're going to monetize on as much as they can. They're going to do that. They're happy with that. Now, I have a little bit more insider information.
Oh, all right.
So, we launched a product called iBuyer Connect at W&R Studios. And basically what that did was, and I apologize for repeating myself because I've told this story before, but just to give some context, back in the day, I thought, well, they're going to come after the CMA, right? You've got all these AVMs, you got the Zestimate and everything else. One day, somebody's going to there's going to no longer be a need for a CMA. So we can either let that happen to us, or we can make that happen or we can be the ones that I like to say would kill the CMA, right? I want to get t-shirts that said, kill the CMA, W&R Studio. We're going to kill our own product because we know somebody else did.
Right.
So Dan and I thought about this problem a lot. And, we saw what was going on with the marketplace and other things. And we thought to ourselves, well, the best way of killing a CMA is you go in there with fucking cash, here's some cash for your house. There's no need for a CMA. Take the cash, right?
Right.
So what we introduced was a product where, as the agent is, an agent gets a call from a seller saying, hey, I want to sell my house. Great. Let me make you a CMA, right? They go in a cloud CMA. They put the address in, boom. If it matches a buy box from an iBuyer,
it's smart.
Opendoor, that it says, hey, we can make a cash offer on this right away. Mm-hmm. That agent can now bring to them to the listing presentation, hey, I've got a CMA. It's a great CMA. This is what I think you've got to market. But if you're in a hurry and you want some certain convenience, I've also got a cash offer.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's called iBuyer Connect.
Yeah.
I know, because we have a spreadsheet and a backdoor of like how many offers we send to Opendoor and other iBuyers, and what the percentage of those
accepted.
get to accept it and go to close. I can't say that number, but I can say, I think, that's and we're in limited markets with MLSs, but it's a product that a lot of realtors love and use.
Yep.
And it's a good tool to have in their toolbox.
Yep.
And I just start adding that. I look at that percentage, and then I apply that to all those fucking motherfucking, visitors to Zillow.com.
Yep.
And I think this is a great win for Opendoor. I think this is going to be a great win for Opendoor.
So basically what we can take away from that is you can't disclose these precise numbers, but we can say that it's high enough to make it worth their while.
I think so. I don't, again, I don't know they're back. I mean, they're still losing money, right? So it just might be like they're going to lose money faster because they have more deals. But I've seen that model work.
Okay. Again, like at a high level, I'm saying, yes, this makes sense. In other words, I'm agreeing with you that Opendoor's like, look, we're really good at iBuying. Zillow's like, we're really good at aggregating, demand. Let's partner. Of course it makes sense, right? Of course that part makes sense. What doesn't make sense for me are all the details.
Okay, but
like I said,
let me finish.
So let's when you click that button, right? Request an offer for Opendoor. If you went to opendoor.com, 100% makes sense, right? 100% makes sense. That's a big win for Opendoor, I think. But when you click that button and you talk to Zillow employee, who then advises you, and literally Rich mentioned there's
that was already happening before. To me, that's already built into, like, that's why in the high 90s, people are taking the CMA, right? They're going with a traditional agent, right? I mean, this is not for everybody. You think it's going to be 60% people later on, but
no, like later, but remember the 6% included power buyers. Don't forget that, right?
Okay.
So that's number one, and number two, like I said, so there's a few other things, but number two, I'm like, that's fine. Opendoor has to pay Zillow when they get a deal through Zillow, right? A referral fee, some sort of fee.
There can be, I'm sure there's a fee for sure.
Okay. Zillow doesn't have to pay Opendoor when they monetize a seller lead?
I have no idea. It hasn't been disclosed. It haven't been disclosed.
There's been no mention of it. You would think that if that was a term, at least like Eric Wu would have said, hey, and by the way, when Zillow generates the seller leads and sells to a premier agent, we get paid, right? Not a huge amount, but good passive income. Didn't hear any of that, right? And then the other thing is the fact that Zillow, because of this primary advisor role, Rich Barton called it like, we're going to be the quarterback, right? Because they get to upsell mortgage, title, and escrow. Yeah. And I'm like, last time I checked, Opendoor had mortgage, Opendoor had title and escrow, and Opendoor was talking about things like Opendoor Complete, and was in earnings calls was like attach rates and all this stuff.
Okay, but here's another thing. One thing also that Dilprete was talking about is their Opendoor exclusives.
Yeah.
And how how the success rates of those. So another thing that Opendoor gets off of this is that.
Sure.
Right. So they're going to monetize their exhaust in that way. Right. So maybe they're not going to get.
Wait. Walk through that for me, because I thought about Opendoor exclusives.
Okay. Well, Opendoor exclusives are when the difference between what Opendoor is doing is they're saying it's a great strategy because it's what every brokerage wants, what every franchisors want. They want a differentiation of their product, right? But because of MLS rules and everything else, they can't do that. Now, since Opendoor is actually the owners of these homes, they can create another website that says, we're going to put it on this website for a certain amount of days, and we're going to offer a discount as if you buy directly from us, which means they get the capture rates. That means they get the title. It means that they have a better chance of all that. And then if it doesn't work that way, they'll put it on the MLS, right? So this is basically, and I think, again, this has to be figured in your calculation of, maybe they're losing on that side, but this is going to accelerate the growth of that big time.
Why? Why would it accelerate the growth of that?
Because they're going to get more listings. They're going to get more listings from all the traffic they're getting from Zillow. You don't think that they're not going to get more homes? They're not going to.
I'm sure they will. I'm sure the top of funnel. So you're saying the play here is we're going to use the Zillow partnership, right? The play is, the logic is we're going to use the Zillow partnership, get our offer button, get our name in front of 200, whatever, however, 100 million users,
right,
who will then come to our website to look at Opendoor exclusive homes.
No.
As buyers.
I'm saying this. They're going to generate more inventory for their open home.
For Opendoor exclusives. Okay. So we're going to buy more homes, right, from all these people that come to us from Zillow.
Right.
And then we're going to take those homes, put into Opendoor exclusives. And then buyers will come to Opendoor exclusives and then we'll capture them there.
Yeah. I mean, that's another thing. I mean, they're going to make money doing their original thing, but they're also now they have a strategy of how they do it on the back end as well. They didn't have that before, right? And this just scales that way quicker than they could before.
I don't know.
Talking about I forget. I know that this is on the internet. Maybe we can have it in the show notes. But Del Prady talked about what the sell through of those things were, and it was pretty damn high.
It's very high, yeah.
Right. So, and if you're talking about a sell through there, where you're also getting a huge attachment rate, and I think you probably, if you're selling on there, you can dictate how that's sold. Sure. Right. Those attachment rates have got to be pretty fucking high. Right. So
we'll see what the data says. Right. Here's the thing that I wonder about.
But did you ever, in this article, just curious? I mean, because I didn't read it.
Yeah.
Did you talk about open house exclusives when you're making this kind of this who was the big winner and who wasn't? I don't think you were.
I touched on it. Right. I touched on it. Basically, Opendoor exclusive. So basically, I talked about it in context of Opendoor giving the mortgage and title opportunity to Zillow, the first shot at it. In other words, every seller, right, who's not an investor, every seller is also a buyer, right? So I'm like, okay, if that seller had come to Opendoor directly, then Opendoor gets the opportunity. Hey, since you're selling us your home, do you need to buy a home? Would you like to talk about mortgage and title? Right?
Yeah, I mean that's a very big high bar to fucking actually hit, even if they had the right to do that.
No, what I mean is that's actually what they've been doing up until now, right? Yeah. And when Opendoor at one point talked about their title attach rate is north of 90%, right? So Opendoor mortgage made perfect sense. Again, just think about it. People coming directly to Opendoor.com say, I want to sell my house. Now Opendoor goes, cool. Hey, do you need to buy a house if you're selling yours? Yeah. As a matter of fact, I do. Would you like to talk about mortgage?
Right.
Now it's going to be the bulk of those people, because let's face it, Zillow's got the traffic. They're going to go to Zillow, click on the button, right? And then a Zillow rep goes, hey, since you're selling your house, do you need to buy a house? Why, yes, I do. Hey, would you like to talk about pre-approval?
Right. No, that's true. But I mean, Zillow's having a tough time today. Del Prady.
Sure. Yeah. Zillow home loans still losing money. Yep. But still, Opendoor's giving that opportunity, the first crack to Zillow.
Sure. They're giving that up.
So now, I did mention in this context, okay, so what happens when that buyer, right? So they sold their home to Opendoor, right? But now they're a buyer, okay, with a Zillow Premier agent, and they're pre-approved on Zillow Mortgage. They come to an Opendoor exclusive house. What I don't know is how easy or difficult is it then at that point as Opendoor exclusive to be like, hey, we're the home owner now, right? We're not representing, you have a buyer agent, you're pre-approved. We think you should get pre-approved with us instead. Swap out your Zillow loan with an Opendoor mortgage because we can do these discounts or whatever. Does that happen often? I don't know the answer to that.
No, I think what happens most often is they hand this off to the agent, and the agent is going to say, well, I want to, I'm going to use fucking Frank Marshall, who I've worked with for years.
Right. So even though they have pre-approved with Zillow home loans,
I think an agent wants everything in their control, and it's hard for all this shit. And this is this is why I think the Opendoor stuff is so brilliant here. On the other side, is that they got to get this deal done. They're going to do that now. Flip side on the Opendoor exclusives.
Yeah.
Hey, these are our houses. You want this price? You have to do A, B, C, D, and E.
Okay.
That's part of it. The attachment rates on that have got to be 100.
So basically, this was what I was wondering, because I don't know the answer to this. Right? Is how easy or difficult or how normal is it for the seller essentially, right, to swap out the mortgage, that the buyer already has. The buyer's walking in like, look, I'm already pre-approved with Zillow for 500, right? And the seller's like, yeah, it's cool. If you want to do that, we'll do that, right? We'll take we'll take your mortgage that way. But if you finance with us, we're gonna knock $1,000 off your price. Like, how often does that happen?
I don't know.
And I guess the
and if you're part of the Zillow Flex program or these things, can you even do that?
Well, if it's the buyer who's insisting, I mean, do you have a choice? If your client is like, hey, Joey, my Zillow Premier agent, turns out I could save $1,000 by financing with Opendoor, right?
Well, yeah, and it's not like, so you're buying a seller lead, right? And this is just a question. I wonder if this stat's out there now. Yeah. How many agents are successful in getting not only this to sell the house, but helping them buy the new one? I don't know what that percentage is. I mean, sometimes I got to think maybe. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know
either. But again, just reaching
because
back.
A lot of times they might be moving out of state. They might be
right. Anecdotal evidence, just talking to agents and brokers, whatever, they almost always get, if you're going to list your home with me, I'm going to represent you as a buyer unless you're moving out of my market.
Right. I mean, I don't know it'd be interesting if we could.
So I just talk about myself. Like when I moved from New Jersey to Texas, obviously I didn't use my listing agent, right? Because I'm moving to Texas. When I was in Texas and sold in Houston, bought in Houston, I used my listing agent as my buyer agent, right? Why wouldn't I? I trust the guy, right? He knows me. He knows my family. I trust him. He's good. He's going to list and sell my house. Why wouldn't I trust him to help me buy the house as well? It would be weird, actually, if you think about it, right? Imagine being the agent and your client that you are selling their house for says, yeah, you know what? I'm not going to use you to buy my next house. Like, that's a weird conversation, isn't it?
It is. And I guess just again, it comes down to these are life events.
Yeah.
Why are you moving? What percentage are moving out of market versus staying in market? I mean, we don't know what those questions are, right? But here I do know, if you go to Opendoor Exclusives, that website, and you want to buy that house, I'm certain they have some things on there that make their attachment rates way high, right? So
now here's the interesting thing. One of the things that if you go to the Opendoor website and you go to the buy section, one of the things that mentions is on homes Opendoor owns, right? Using an outside agent means more fees for you and us. Working with an Opendoor agent means fewer fees and saves both of us money. So your offer stands out.
It's your house. They're creating their own Nisbo site. They can do that.
One of the things I'm fascinated by is what happens now, right? All these people that came through Zillow, sold their house to Opendoor. Now it's a Zillow Premier agent, right? And now comes to Opendoor Exclusives.
Yeah.
And they're like, I want to.
That site.
It's going to be fascinating. And I don't know what happens. So look, I mean, I didn't say this is a lose for Opendoor.
I think it's win-win. And again, I would say almost advantage Opendoor, really.
I could not disagree more. I think it's win-win and it's huge advantage for Zillow, right? Huge.
Even like we just talked about on this other side.
What's that?
Even what we just talked about.
Yeah, because Opendoor would have had Opendoor Exclusives with or without Zillow.
They're not going to have that many, though. That's the whole thing. Now this is going to accelerate and expand this bigger than they ever fucking thought before.
Maybe.
200 million freaking sites.
But let's point something else, because this was the final point I was going to make, right? The last earnings call that Opendoor had, right, was we're scaling way back on purchases, right? That we have to have a bigger spread because the market has completely changed. We got caught by surprise. They're going to lose an ass load of money. We know this. And Opendoor's like, we're going to widen the spread. We're going to pay less until the market volatility calms down. I'm like, okay. So what good does it do to stuff the top of your funnel, right, if you just narrowed your buy box? I'm not even, so in the short term, I'm not even,
it's giving you more at bats, right? I mean,
sure, but I'm not even sure that they're going, it's not like they're going to go, awesome, now that we have the Zillow deal, we can 3x our inventory. Do you know what I mean? Like, because the rest of the market, the macroeconomic conditions, Opendoor's financial position, I'm not convinced allows them to do that anyway. And Opendoor Exclusives would have been exclusive with or without Zillow.
I think they have a buy box. They're only, in the past, first of all, I think they would take as many people in that buy box as they can. right? As many as they can get.
Yeah.
This is only going to expand and give them a bigger net to go get those people.
Look, I agree. I'm saying that's a win. I didn't say this was a lose for Opendoor, right? I said this was a win. And win like that. That's what I'm trying to get.
I'm telling you, I'm so.
You're the opposite way. You think Opendoor is the big winner and Zillow's the less.
Well, I mean, it's not. It's either even or a little bit more advantage to Opendoor, not the win.
Right.
But yeah.
Well, so that's where we differ.
Fascinating.
All right, so let's think about where we agree. We agree this is a good deal for both companies. It is a win for Opendoor. Like, I want to make this clear. This is a win for Opendoor. Yeah. I just couldn't believe they gave away what they did and didn't get, from what I could tell, anything in return.
And I think that it's a win for Opendoor. It's a win for Zillow, right? Yeah. These are two
certainly it's a win for Zillow.
They get to focus on the things that they're good at.
Yep.
And I think what basically Zillow has handed Opendoor is a way to accelerate their Opendoor exclusive, which has been showing really good signs of being successful, of expanding that and creating their own portal.
Maybe, but you know what? Like, that's the thing. Opendoor exclusives was not part of any of the deal terms. So again, maybe we're missing it, right?
Well, it's not part of the deal, but it's just feeding that portal. Any deal that they buy, any home they buy can go on to their portal now.
I don't know, man. It depends on the level of. All right, you know what? We need to wrap.
They own it.
No, they own the house. I don't know that they own the traffic. And I'm fairly certain they won't. Right? Because Rich Barton talked about deep integration. So it doesn't sound like Zillow's going to be sending anybody off their website to.
I don't think they're going to send anybody off, but just by the nature of them having more houses on that portal is going to become more successful.
You mean the Opendoor exclusive?
Yes.
So, okay. So you think this is all about growing the Opendoor exclusives, and then they'll.
Well, it's two things. I think it's a good deal to get more people to fund their primary business, and then this is just a huge things afterwards.
All right, you know, we should actually see if we get Tyler on to talk about Opendoor exclusives at some point in the future.
Yeah,
I think that would be fun. But in any event, we are out of time because you got stuff to do. I got places to be, shirts to launder. Before we leave off, I mean, I think we should maybe mention that we are going to be doing a special live panel, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So why don't you tell the audience about that in case anybody's in the area?
Yeah, so the Greater Las Vegas Association of Realtors, and I think we've mentioned this in the past, is holding their kind of MLS tech fair. They've been doing this for a long time. I've been a participant in this for forever. And this is going to be, they're going back live again this year. For the last 2 years, they hadn't because of the pandemic and such. And we're going to be on the stage with Big Richie, director of Greater Las Vegas Association of Realtors, Rob and myself. And we're going to be having a discussion on this whole kind of buyer side commission topic that we've been talking about for a while. And this is going to be recorded and video and audio. So, plus, if you're in town, I mean, I know Stephanie Hill over there would love to have as many people as they want to come check it out. If you want, so come to Vegas, check us out.
And when is this, Greg?
This is going to be on, I believe, the 26th. Am I right about that?
Friday, the 26th of August. So a couple of weeks.
Yeah, come on down.
If you're in the area, come see us.
Yeah,
we'll go hang out.
And then I do want to say one thing more. We have a brand new sponsor.
Ooh, woo, woo, woo.
Boom. So not only again, shout out as you probably heard by now that NoteRouter, fantastic sponsor, but we also have another sponsor, Ernest.
Ernest in the house.
Ernest in the house. Thank you, Russell, for your sponsorship. We appreciate that. And everybody go and find out what Ernest is all about.
Yep.
At earnest.com. Is that right?
And I know we already inked the deal and all, but just as a thought, Russ, maybe part of the conference, the sponsorship could be that Greg has to wear a Clemson hat on the videos because Ernest is in Greenville, South Carolina, where I lived for 18 months. So just want to suggest that
or something, or what was it?
What's that?
Wasn't he a duck?
He lives in Napa. But I'm saying the company is in Clemson.
Company. Okay.
The company is in Greenville. And I think the founders are Greenville residents. So I'm thinking Clemson hat makes a lot of sense. It's just me. I'm just saying,
Right. Okay. Sure. All right.
All right.
That sounds great. Thank you again to Ernest and Russell. We appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for listening, and we will see you the next time.
Thanks.
All right. Ciao, everyone.
Hey, everybody. I'm so happy to announce that we have a new sponsor for Industry Relations, and that's Earnest. Earnest is a secure, convenient digital payment system that allows for a fully digital transfer of funds in real estate transactions. So thank you, Russ, and please visit earnest.com. That's EARNNEST.com. Thanks again.